I'm very excited to have with me here in studio Casey Westbrook. He's an iron sculptor and an artist who has founded a nonprofit artist collaborative called Carbon Arts Detroit. Joins me in the studio right now. Hello, Casey. How are you?
Hi, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And this is interesting to me before we get into exactly what you guys do, because yes, you sculpt iron, but also you pour iron as performance art, which is really, really cool. If nobody's ever seen that done before, it is something to behold. But you were not from here. You came here, and it was a no-brainer. You're like, I'm moving here. Tell me a little bit about that decision.
Well, it started off with a performance that I was commissioned to do with Matthew Barney here in Detroit, a little bit south of downtown in Trenton, where we designed, constructed, operated the largest cast iron event outside of industry ever.
And these are cupolas you built here, which is a term for basically an iron foundry, correct?
They are
furnace.
Iron casting furnaces, yes.
Okay.
Same thing that is if you're driving down 75, looking at the Ford plant, same furnaces that are sitting there, essentially the same machines, scaled down to fit our needs.
Okay, and talk about that, because I don't know where typically artists in this medium get their materials from. You make your own.
Correct.
You try to, anyway. You do.
We pride ourselves on being very resourceful, yes.
I mean, but this is the classic melding of Detroit and arts, though. I mean, seems to be, the natural sort of progression of this.
Absolutely. And the history of Detroit being founded on iron and steel is, like you said earlier, it is a no-brainer. We should be here, and because of the history and the camaraderie of the crew that worked together on COO, the Matthew Barney project, we came together, we synced, and it's been perfect ever since.
So what is the goal of the nonprofit? I mean, I understand you want to teach people how to work in this medium, but again, there is the performance art aspect of this. You're working to build a couple of these now, so you can do some more performances, but it seems somewhat limited as to where you can do these types of things. Because you'd need to be inside a foundry, do you not?
No, that's one thing that's very interesting about our situation is that everything is modular. Everything is. We essentially have the largest modular foundry in existence. We have smaller components as well, and we can take these anywhere. We can set them up, well, if the space will accommodate that type of process. And that's what I think is pretty significant about it, is that we can come onto a site. If it will accommodate it, we can do different performances or production pours, making actual cast sculpture on site.
Well, and if anybody's ever seen this done, it really is remarkable, and quite the pyrotechnic display, I guess.
It's amazing. If you like fire, then you're going to love it. Come out, absolutely.
So where are you doing things right now? I mean, have you set up shop somewhere?
After this project, I was lucky to come across a teaching position at Bowling Green State, teaching sculpture in the Foundry Arts. Okay.
So that also keeps you close to here then. Bowling Green, just a couple of miles down the road here, just south of the border. So talk about, how you envision this working. What it is you hope to accomplish with this?
We are going to, ultimately our goal is to really decrease the marginalization of arts, especially metal arts, in this kind of educational arena. And bridge the gap between industry and the arts itself.
Marginalization? What do you mean?
Well, the first thing that are always cut from educational arenas are always the arts.
Yes. Okay. And in metal arts in particular?
Well, it's a dying craft. It's something that it's not intentionally being taken out of curriculum across the country, but it is a craft that is not being utilized as much anymore.
Well, so tell me a little bit about why Detroit. I mean, what was it about this town that you found attractive to do this? Because you could have done this in a number of different locations. Obviously, the history here makes sense, but what about Pittsburgh?
Very true, but it's interesting you ask, because in education itself, in the collegiate environment, extracting that knowledge, the craft of iron making through a cupola furnace like we're doing, actually started here back in, I want to say the 70s, but don't hold me to that, with Julius Schmidt from Cranbrook. Okay. He was the one that adapted that knowledge, took it out, scaled it down for us to utilize, and it's spread into this, essentially this subculture that exists in university systems across the country, and now is spreading overseas, and is increasing to do so at a pretty impressive rate.
My guest once again is Casey Westbrook. He's an iron sculptor, and more importantly than that, he also makes the stuff, and he has started Carbon Arts Detroit. And I understand there's an event coming up on Saturday. There's going to be a live pour. You've got a new home for your iron cupolas, correct, over at Trumbull and Marquette? Is that right?
Yes.
And so what's going to happen there? What are people going to get to see?
Well, it's a benefit for us to basically support us setting up shop, but more importantly, it's a family event. We're going to be opening the doors. There'll be different types of activities for the family and community to witness throughout the day. There'll be 7 bands. And there'll be small scratch blocks, which we will, different size formats, which are basically some small resin bonded sand molds for participants to scratch, relief, drill into, basically carve a negative into as we're setting up the furnaces and getting up to temperature. We cast these objects for them, and they take them home and get to be a part of the whole process from the ground up.
And they get to watch this molten metal being poured into these things and see the blast furnace in operation.
Absolutely.
Which is a very, again, cool thing. But it's also quite hot, correct?
It is. Inside the furnaces, it'll be over 3,000 degrees.
And you know, this is dangerous work. How do you get into something like this? Because this is not something that somebody just decides, oh, I think I'll work with molten metal today.
Well, you have to be somewhat a bit crazy to do that, I suppose. No, I fell into it in my undergraduate career, studying art. That happened to be a major component of that program, so I found my niche there.
And of course, you start your teaching position at Bowling Green this coming semester, correct?
Yes.
And so congratulations on that. But again, this event is taking place, again, on Saturday. That's tomorrow, as a matter of fact. The address, it's at Lincoln and Marquette. And Lincoln is actually Trumbull, correct? Trumbull and Marquette, which is, all right, not too far from here then.
Yeah, there's a physical address is 5969 Lincoln Street.
Okay.
But also, if you go to Google Maps and just search for Carbon Arts, it'll point you in the right direction.
All right, and you guys have a website as well, Carbon Arts Detroit, that I was checking out earlier to see a lot of the work that you do and some of the pieces you put together. Casey, thanks for coming to tell us about it. It's a pretty cool idea and a great event. And, if you've never seen metal being forged before, it is really a remarkable process. So thanks for coming to tell us about it.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Casey Westbrook, iron sculptor and founder of Carbon Arts Detroit. Again, the event Saturday from 4 p.m. until 11:30 p.m. And, of course, the information will be on the show's Facebook page and also on our webpage at WDET.org.